Overnight, entire cornfields torn to shreds, expensive irrigation lines snapped like twigs, massive craters where fertile soil used to be. You step out onto your porch in West Texas, look at the devastation, and realize this was not a tornado. It was an invasion. Right now, over 3 million feral hogs are tearing through Texas. Across Australia, 23 million of them roam wild, outnumbering the human population. Every year, these living bulldozers inflict over $2.5 billion in damage across North America, with Texas farmers taking a $670 million hit alone. It all started back in the 1500s when Spanish explorers brought domestic pigs for bacon on the trail. Some escaped, some were released. Out in the wild, evolution went into overdrive. They grew thick bristles, razor-sharp tusks, and pure aggression. How did a humble farm animal turn into an unstoppable biological crisis, and can high-tech warfare actually stop them? Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into this billion-dollar eco-war, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an inside look at the stories shaping our world. To understand why this wild pig problem spiraled so far out of control, you have to look under the hood of these animals. Biologically speaking, the feral hog is an absolute masterclass in survival and reproduction. A young female can get pregnant at just 6 months old. Her gestation period is ridiculously short, lasting roughly 114 days. That means a single sow can pump out 2 litters every single year, with 6 to 12 piglets in each batch. If you do the math on that exponential growth, a single pair of hogs can turn into a massive herd in the blink of an eye. Paired with that explosive breeding capability is a diet that would make any scavenger jealous. Feral hogs are opportunistic omnivores in the truest sense of the word. They will devour absolutely anything with calories. Roots, seeds, acorns, crops, insects, snakes, eggs of ground-nesting birds, and even rotting carcasses. If it contains organic matter, a wild hog will figure out a way to digest it and turn it into fuel. Where are you watching this video from? Please tell us your country or city in the comments and let's explore together. Now, the sheer destruction they leave behind comes down to 2 primary behaviors: rooting and wallowing. When hogs search for food underground, they use their rock-hard snouts like heavy machinery, churning up topsoil inches deep. This rooting behavior completely destroys plant root systems, ruins delicate soil structures, and triggers massive erosion across agricultural fields. Then comes wallowing. Because hogs do not have functional sweat glands, they have to roll around in mud to cool their bodies down and protect their skin from parasites. When they wallow in local ponds, streams, and marshes, they turn clean water into muddy sludge. They destroy aquatic ecosystems and contaminate water supplies with dangerous pathogens. In fact, wild hogs carry and spread over 30 different diseases, including swine brucellosis and African swine fever, posing a constant biological threat to domestic livestock and local wildlife. You might be asking yourself why natural predators do not just step in and fix the problem. The blunt truth is that nature is completely overwhelmed. Across North America and Australia, apex predators like gray wolves, mountain lions, and alligators simply do not exist in high enough numbers to make a dent in the wild pig population. Hogs move in large herds, defend themselves aggressively with razor-sharp tusks, and reproduce far faster than any local predator can hunt them down. Ecologists and wildlife biologists have run the numbers, and the findings are terrifying. To simply keep a feral hog population stable and prevent it from expanding any further, human control efforts must successfully remove over 70% of the total population every single year. Anything less than that 70% threshold, and the remaining herd will completely bounce back to its original size within a single breeding season. When Mother Nature is powerless to check this growth, and basic land management fails, property owners and farmers are left with no choice. They have to ditch the old playbook and turn to aggressive, high-tech tactics to win this war. When landowners first realized the sheer scale of the wild pig crisis unfolding on their properties, their immediate reaction was simple: grab a rifle, call up some buddies, and go hunting. Sinking bullets into feral hogs seemed like the most direct way to protect crops and livestock. Hunters ventured into the woods with high-powered rifles, compound bows, and trained catch dogs to track down the beasts. On the surface, it felt like a classic, hands-on solution to a growing nuisance. However, this traditional boots-on-the-ground approach quickly backfired in a massive way. Feral hogs are shockingly intelligent creatures with sharp senses and a keen instinct for self-preservation. When you start shooting at a sounder, which is what we call a herd of wild pigs, you might take down one or two animals, but the rest instantly scatter across miles of territory. They learn your routine, adapt to human presence, and change their behavior almost overnight. Instead of foraging during daylight, the entire herd transforms into a fully nocturnal ghost force, hiding deep inside dense swamps, thick brush, and treacherous terrain where humans cannot easily follow. By hunting them sporadically, landowners were not fixing the problem. They were actually training the pigs to become elusive, hardened survivors. Recognizing that casual hunting was failing, property managers shifted toward passive control methods, bringing in traditional cage traps. These heavy steel structures had been used for generations to catch problem wildlife. But setting them up was absolute back-breaking labor. Carrying these bulky, rigid iron frames onto rough Texas soil required at least 2 or 3 strong workers, heavy trucks, and hours of setup time. Even after all that effort, the results were painfully disappointing. The fundamental flaw of the classic cage trap was its limited size and primitive mechanical trigger. A typical herd consists of a dominant matriarch, several adults, and a swarm of juveniles. When the herd approaches a cage trap, 1 or 2 curious piglets usually wander inside first and step on the tripwire. The heavy door slams shut, catching those few young hogs, while the older, wiser adults watch from a safe distance outside. That single mistake ruins the entire trapping effort. The remaining pigs panic, bolt into the woods, and learn never to go anywhere near a metal box again. Researchers call this phenomenon becoming trap-shy. Once a wild pig goes trap-shy, getting it anywhere near bait or artificial structures becomes nearly impossible. You end up wasting time, money, and manpower just to capture 2 small piglets, while the breeding adults remain free to keep expanding the population. This cycle of partial failure led to a major realization among wildlife biologists and professional trappers. Picking off 20% of a herd here and there does absolutely nothing to stop the invasion. In fact, it actually makes things worse. Scattering the pigs spreads dangerous swine diseases over wider geographical areas. Even worse, reducing herd density slightly leaves more food resources for the survivors, triggering a biological response where the remaining females reproduce even faster to compensate for the loss. It became painfully obvious that picking off individual pigs was a losing game. To make any real dent in the numbers, the overarching strategy had to evolve entirely. Landowners needed to abandon piecemeal hunting and focus on one clear, uncompromising objective: whole sounder removal. Every single animal in the herd, from the oldest matriarch down to the newest piglet, had to be captured and eliminated at the exact same time. The shift toward whole sounder removal sparked a wave of technological innovation that completely revolutionized wildlife management. Trappers stopped relying on heavy steel bars and started leveraging lightweight materials and smart connectivity. One game changer was the introduction of flexible netting systems like the Boar Blanket. Instead of hauling 1,000-pound iron cages across rough terrain, a single person could carry a rolled-up, high-strength net trap into the woods, setting it up in a fraction of the time. Alongside these lighter materials came the real breakthrough: cellular-connected drop traps paired with real-time video streaming. The whole process became a calculated step-by-step operation. First comes the baiting phase. For 3 to 5 days, trappers spread sweet-smelling corn and grain inside a wide netting perimeter, leaving the drop gates suspended high overhead. This conditions the pigs to feel safe, training the entire herd to gather inside without suspicion. Step 2 takes place in the dead of night using high-definition cellular IP cameras. The property owner can sit comfortably on their living room couch miles away, pulling up a live camera feed on their smartphone. They do not jump the gun when the first few piglets wander under the net. Instead, they exercise cold patience, watching the live screen as the dominant sow leads the rest of the sounder straight into the target zone. Once step 3 hits, and every single animal is verified inside the boundary, the operator simply taps a button on their phone screen. That digital signal triggers a magnetic release mechanism, dropping the massive circular netting system to the ground simultaneously. In a single second, the entire herd is trapped inside, leaving 0 survivors to run off and become trap-shy. While smart drop traps proved insanely effective for localized herds, they still had one major limitation: scale. Texas and western states feature vast, open landscapes covering millions of contiguous acres where setting individual traps on the ground just takes too long. To cover these immense distances, wildlife managers introduced the most aggressive tactic in modern eradication: aerial gunning. Mounted inside low-flying, highly maneuverable helicopters, professional marksmen take to the sky to hunt feral hogs from above. The aircraft skim just above the treetops and brush lines, flushing herds out into open pastures and dry riverbeds. From the open door of a chopper, a shooter armed with a semi-automatic rifle, equipped with high-capacity magazines, can track fast-moving pigs across terrain where ground vehicles could never tread. From the air, every single hiding advantage that wild pigs relied on for centuries instantly vanishes. Dense brush cannot hide a running sounder when viewed from a couple hundred feet overhead. A single professional flight crew can sweep between 2,000 and 5,000 acres of farmland in a single day. The efficiency of these aerial sorties is breathtaking, yielding an elimination rate of 80 to 95% of all detected wild pigs in a targeted area. It provides a level of speed and coverage that ground-based methods could never hope to achieve, shifting the momentum in favor of the farmers for the very first time. When you stack up these technological advances and aerial strategies, the financial and ecological returns speak for themselves. The impact on local farming communities has been nothing short of game-changing. Take a look at the Texas AgriLife project data from 2021. In a single year, their coordinated removal programs eliminated roughly 48,000 feral hogs across target counties, delivering a massive $15.9 million in economic benefits to local agricultural communities. For individual landowners, those savings hit close to home. One Texas rancher reported that after booking just 2 helicopter sorties over his property, he saved an estimated $45,000 in crop losses in a single season. Beyond the checkbooks, the land itself gets a desperately needed breather. When wild pig populations decline in a given area, the local ecosystem begins to heal at a remarkable pace. Native grasses sprout back where dirt craters used to sit. Silted streams clear up as muddy wallows dry out, and ground-nesting bird species finally get a fighting chance to raise their chicks without eggs getting devoured out of the nest. Yet, despite these undeniable victories, this high-tech eradication war comes with a steep price tag and a dark set of trade-offs. The financial barrier to entry is staggering. Running a professional helicopter operation is insanely expensive, costing upwards of $3,000 for every single hour of flight time. That puts aerial gunning far out of reach for small-scale family farmers who need help the most. Furthermore, people often ask why we do not harvest all that wild pig meat to feed local communities or process it for grocery stores. The reality of food safety makes commercializing feral hog meat virtually impossible. Wild pigs carry severe bacterial risks like swine brucellosis, along with internal parasites that make processing them a health liability. On top of that, mature wild boars produce an intense, foul odor known as boar taint, rendering the meat completely unpalatable to consumers. As a result, tons of wild pork are left rotting in open fields after aerial sweeps, feeding scavengers like vultures and coyotes instead of human dinner tables. This stark visual of decaying carcasses strewn across open pastures has fueled intense public debate and pushback from animal rights organizations. The controversy deepened when private hunting outfits began commercializing aerial gunning, turning serious invasive species management into pay-to-play thrill rides for wealthy tourists. Critics label this commercialized hunting thrill killing, arguing that shooting fleeing animals from the sky for amusement crosses a line from necessary population control into cruelty. Transforming a desperate ecological crisis into high-adrenaline entertainment has sparked heated ethical debates about how humans should balance ecological necessity with humane treatment. At the end of the day, this wild pig crisis teaches us a profound truth about life and nature. Whenever humans interfere with the natural balance without thinking long-term, the fallout always comes back to haunt us. We cannot simply erase our past mistakes overnight, but we can take responsibility, act with ethics, and work every single day to restore balance to the world around us. What are your thoughts on how we should handle this environmental war? Drop your perspective in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and join our community. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.